From Darkness to Light, the journey of data scientist to Islamic. I never believed in God. Not the God people prayed to in mosques, nor the one worshipped in churches, temples, or synagogues. To me, religion was a illusion, a crutch for the weak, a fairy tale for the lost. I was proud of my rationalism, of my ability to see through the divine. My name is Daniel Foster, born into a family of militant secularists in Brighton, England. My father, a retired philosophy professor, used to say, "Faith is intellectual laziness." I memorized that line and repeated it like a mantra. I was successful by worldly standards, a data scientist working at a top tech firm. My life was a blur of algorithms, coffee and fleeting pleasures. Parties. Hidden dates. Video games. Money. But at night, in the silence of my room, something always clawed at the edges of my consciousness. A word. An aching hollowness. I shrugged it off. Just existential dread, I'd say. Part of the human condition. But the emptiness grew. One rainy evening after a particularly raining day, I was walking home. The streets were wet reflections of traffic lights dancing in puddles. My headphones were in blasting some indie rock song I no longer remember. As I turned a corner, I nearly collided with an old man handing out leaflets outside a small, barely noticeable building. I pulled my headphones out and on. "Free tea and open discussion," he said gently, smiling. "No preaching. Just sharing." I glanced at the leaflet. It said, "Discover Islam, a weekly interfaith meetup." I scoffed and began to walk away. "No thanks, I don't believe in fairy tales." The man didn't chase me. He simply said, "Truth is not afraid of questions." That line stopped me cold. I walked home, his words echoing in my head. Truth is not afraid of questions. That night, something inside me shifted. I didn't understand why, but I googled, "Why do people convert to Islam?" The results surprised me. Scientists, philosophers, artists, even priests. I accepted desperate, emotionally unstable people but found articulate, thoughtful individuals. I watched a video of a man named Hamza Andres, a former atheist like me, now a Muslim speaker. His logic shook me. His calm, his confidence unnerving. For the first time, I was curious. The next Thursday, I stood outside that same center, soaked in a drizzle. I walked in. The room smelled of cardamom tea and worn books. A circle of people sat casually on floor cushions. Muslims and agnostics were discussing the concept of purpose. I remained silent the whole evening. But I kept coming back. Week after week, I listened. I argued. I asked questions. Why does a perfect God allow suffering? Isn't the outdated? Isn't religion just a tool for control? No one dismissed me. One evening, a young man named Yasin, a revert from Ireland, handed me a copy of the "I don't expect you to believe it," he said. "Just read it with an open heart." They lay on my nightstand for weeks untouched and intimidating. One night, after a fight with my father over my foolish dabbling with religion, I finally opened it. I expected grand claims and moral platitudes. What I found was different. It wasn't a storybook. It was a conversation, raw and unfiltered. It spoke to me. Not like a book I was reading, but as if it was reading me. "And he found you lost and guided you." Tiranve et sat. I wept. Why? I didn't know. I started reading the every night, hidden and in my blanket like a guilty secret. I memorized verses that shook me. Indeed, in the creation of the heavens and the earth are signs for those who reflect. Team 190. Do they not reflect upon themselves? 38. We will show them our signs in the horizons and within themselves until it becomes clear to them that it is the truth. 41. These weren't threats. They were gentle invitations. To look. To think. To feel. My heart was changing. But fear crept into. What if I believe this is true? I thought. What if I want to submit? I kept it secret. I was terrified. My parents would disown me. My friends would mock me. My employer company riddled with gossip might fire me. But the inner struggle intensified. One night I had a dream. I was drowning in a vast stormy ocean. I screamed for help but no one heard me. Just as I was about to give up, a man appeared, tall, cloaked in white, face hidden in radiant light. He reached out and said only one word. Come. I woke up crying. I knew I believed. I texted Yasin, can we meet? We sat in a quiet park. I was shaking. My mouth was dry. I think I believe in Allah, I said. I believe there is from Him. And I believe Muhammad is His messenger. Yasin smiled gently. Ye already. And there and in the open sky, as stars shimmered and my heart pounded, I said the words that would change everything. Allah ila Allah wa Rasul Allah. Tears poured from my eyes. My chest felt light as if I had been carrying a mountain my whole life and it had suddenly vanished. I was a Muslim. But that was only the beginning. The next day, I told my parents. My mother cried. Not out of joy. We raised you better than this, she screamed. My father called me a traitor to reason. He threatened to cut me off financially, emotionally. Islam is that. A religion of violence and superstition. I tried to explain. But they didn't want to hear it. You are no longer our son, my father said coolly. The door closed behind me. Forever. I had nothing but a backpack and I moved into a small apartment in East London with some Muslim brothers who welcomed me like family. They helped me learn how to pray, how to perform, how to fast. I was clumsy at first. I mispronounced Arabic words. I asked too many questions. But they never mocked me. Ramadan came. My first fast was painful headaches, cravings. But as came and I broke my fast with a date and water, I felt a joy I had never tasted before. That night, during I wept in. Not because I was tired. But because I belonged. I had found my purpose. But trials didn't stop. Online hate. Coworkers whispering. An anonymous letter slipped into my locker at work, go back to your desert religion. I considered quitting. Then I remembered the Prophet Muhammad insulted, boycotted, attacked. Yet he remained patient. Patience is beautiful, I whispered to myself. I held on. Years passed. I studied Islam deeply. I enrolled in online classes. I traveled to Turkey, to Mecca, to Medina. I learned Arabic. I began giving talks. I spoke about my journey not to boast but to show others, if Allah can guide me, He can guide any man. And one day, standing in that same center where it all began, I handed it to a curious young man named Alex. He took it with trembling hands. Just read it, I said. With an open heart. Apollo. Today, I am Imam Foster. I've dedicated my life to helping seekers find the path I once denied. My father passed away without reconciling, but I pray for him. My mother has softened. She once attended one of my talks, standing quietly in the back. To all those reading this who are searching, doubting, aching, I say this: Allah sees you. He knows your heart. And He waits, not with anger but with mercy. He is closer to you than your jugular vein. He guided me from darkness into light. And He can do the same for you. Just ask. Just search. And when the moment comes, don't be afraid to say, La. Welcome home. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who may be searching for truth. Never underestimate the power of one word, one book, or one act of sincerity. Visit your local mosque. Pick up the. Ask Allah for guidance and He will answer. Indeed, those who strive in our path, we will surely guide them to our ways. And indeed, Allah is with the doers of good. 29-69